Welcome to another episode of the Get Out Swim podcast. I'm your host, Seamus T. Quinn, and I'm joined by my co-host, Joao Mescalote. You don't have your swim tag on there, swim coach Joao.
I forgot. I don't know how to put it.
No. All right. Well, no swim coach Joao tag today, but Joao Mescalote is here, so just keep that in mind. And then we are joined by the head coach of the University of Illinois women's swimming and diving program. Today's guest is Jeana Kempe. Jeana, thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. It's kind of fun to be with Joao on a podcast, like swim coach Joao.
Yeah, the one and only swim coach Joao.
Yeah, I like it. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy to have you on. This was someone that, or you're someone that Joao recommended having on. He said Jeana, was someone that coached me at LSU. She has stayed in swimming and, is a head coach at a big time program, and we should invite her on. And so I'm happy to connect with you and learn about your swim journey and all things coaching.
I'm excited to share it. It'll be good.
Cool. All right. Well, let's start with some of your background. So tell us about how you got involved with swimming in the first place, and then kind of what led to you wanting to pursue a career in coaching.
Yeah, I think I kind of got swimming when I started swimming when I was 9, but that was more of my mom just throwing me in lessons and saying, hey, you need to learn how to swim. And it turned out I loved it, right? Like swimming was the only sport I ever truly did. And it was always my first love when it came to that stuff. And, so from there, I started swimming when I was 9 in Colorado Springs for a really small club team. And my dad was in the Air Force. So we moved and he was stationed in Colorado Springs at the time. I grew up most of my life in Illinois. We moved back to Illinois when my dad retired and kind of took off from there. I had some really great club teammates, in that 5th, 6th, 7th grade time frame. And then I started swimming for Rockwood Swim Club, which was like an hour from my house, and kind of took off from there. I coached with, I swam for Mary Liston at Rockwood. And man, if you ever want to put someone on a podcast, Mary will tell you all the things. She's fantastic and she's seen it all. But I swam for her and I loved it. And it was a really great group at the time. When I was at Rockwood, every year we had someone on the national junior team, and it was kind of fun just being around that elite of a program. We won junior nationals one year. It was a really great experience, and it was fun. Every day was fun. We worked our butts off, but every day was fun. And so then I went on to compete at UCLA. I went to UCLA for school, swam there under Cindy Gallagher. Actually, Greg Meehan was my assistant coach at UCLA for 2 years. Wow. And then Erica, now Stebbins, was my assistant coach for the other 2 years. And I learned so much at UCLA. It was so fun. It was so different. It was different. I grew up in a town of 3,000 people, and then I went to LA. So it was new. It was different. It was creative. I loved it. I was teammates with Kim Vandenberg, who was on the Olympic team. Kristen Lewis was a senior when I was a freshman. I guess Cunye now, and she was the assistant coach at Cal for a long time and went with Terry and won a couple national championships. And so we had really great leaders in my time at UCLA, and we did a lot as a program, and it was really fun. And then I went on to grad school at Northern Arizona and wanted nothing to do with coaching, at all. And I did the academic route. I was like, I'm going to be an academic advisor. I'm going to make sure all these kids are doing what they need to. It's going to be great. I hated every second of it. That was not for me at all. It was great, helped paid for my grad school, but in terms of a career, that was so far from what I wanted. And Andy Johns at the time, still the head coach right now. And he kind of took me under his wing. I was coaching the club team for a little bit, and he knew that I really was unhappy in my grad program and what I was doing. And he said, well, what if swimming and diving helps out so you can finish your grad degree, but in return you work with our program? And I was all in. That sounded so much fun and different, right? Just being connected to the sport. And honestly, from that moment on, I've been coaching and I've been loving every second of it. And that was kind of my launching pad, I guess you could say.
Interesting.
What made you choose UCLA?
I would love to tell you like the weather, right? But I think it was so much more than that. For myself, I think it was really important to have a female coach. And that was something that I loved about going out there with Cindy. And I really wanted to swim with a women's only program. I think that was something that was really important for me. I was not into the idea of being around a men's team all the time. I was pretty conservative of a high school kid. Like I liked things in order, and that's kind of the family I came from. And I really felt that with Cindy and at UCLA, and they were in the right path and they were driving. And that was something really important to me. I think honestly, being a military kid and moving around a lot, I was ready to like really spread my wings. I wanted to go back west. I loved Colorado, and I didn't truly want to stay in the Midwest. So it was like UCLA or Virginia. And Mark Bernardino was recruiting me at the time, and love the man. That was probably my hardest phone call I've ever made, was telling him that was like broke my heart.
Yeah. I'm glad just to, Seamus got to meet him this summer as well. But I'm glad I can say that I spent a year coaching, with, sharing the same pool deck with him, because that man is a saint, and it's probably one of the biggest mentors that I have. I text him as well, like maybe once a month just to check in. But yeah, no, that man is. I
hope he's loving the retired life. He was one of my coaches on the national junior team when I made the national junior team. Mark was one of the, I don't know if he was the head coach. I don't remember where he was, but he was one of the coaches that went to Barcelona with us. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So talk to us about that. Like making the junior team. That's before college, right?
It was before college. I almost want to say it was like my freshman year of high school. I always made fun of coaches because they're like, oh, you never know what year people graduate. And it's wild how easily you forget all these things as you get older. But it was my freshman year of high school. So I was only like 15. I was pretty young. It was a great experience. At that time you had to swim a certain time. You had to be in a certain age group. What they have to do now to make national junior team is wildly different, and I think a little harder than what I had to do. But we had such a cool group of people. I mean, I think like Fran Crippen was on my junior team, right? And like we had a lot of girls and guys that went on to be Olympians. Pat Calhoun was at Auburn, breaststroker. He was on there. He made the Olympic team the year after. Caroline and Michael Bruce were on my team, and they're Caroline was an Olympian at Stanford. And so we just had a really neat group of people. And that,
I know it's like super different nowadays, because, like when you make a junior national team nowadays, it's, I don't want to say easier, but you start dreaming a little more of like what professional swimming looks like. But I'm sure back then, like there's no thought of like, oh, I'm going to make money and continue in swimming after college, right?
No, that was like never a thought. At all. So
when you picked UCLA, you're like, okay, I'm going to do my 4 years here. And, if I make a team, I make a team, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to see what happens after that. And then we'll get set up for the rest of my life, and we'll see what the path is that it happens to be.
What was something like when you were at NAU? What was some of the things that made you realize like, okay, I want to stay in coaching? Like this is kind of like the path I'm going to follow now.
I don't know. I don't know if I remember. I just think I loved the collaboration all the time. Andy Johns was such an awesome mentor. Like I was so grateful to have him in my first coaching job, because he would allow me to write practices. We'd meet like 2 hours before every practice, and he would look over it. He'd give me feedback. He'd say, okay, you're hitting the right spot. You're not hitting the right spot. And just a really good mentor all around. The athletic department was really small, and I think I got the opportunity to understand what actually happens in an athletic department and kind of have my hand in everything, whether it was travel or development. And I think just understanding the whole department really made me love it. And then want to be challenged. It's just kind of like those endorphin hits, right? Like I get an email from LSU, and I'm like, dang, this is cool. And then you go on the interview and you're like, wow, this is what I could do. And so I think it was one of those things. It's just like you saw the launching pad for it, for sure.
Yeah. I think that's so important. Like having that mentorship, like to show you, like in the beginning of coaching, because coaching, it is a tough position, right? Like, especially in college, like there's not much money, for starting coaches in college, and having someone as a mentor that will take you around and show you all the ways. And in many ways, I feel like that kind of, like you said, like it motivates you. Like if they do it the right way, like it motivates you to keep going and pursue that path. I'm lucky to say that I've had the same thing with Jay Agnew at Ball State. Was someone that, let me fly while still holding my wings a little bit, teaching me the ways and making sure that I did it the right way. So that's really cool. And I think it ties into like the next question we were talking about earlier. Like the coaching staff at LSU while I was there, and you were one of my coaches. But then after that, you went on to Auburn, South Carolina, and now Illinois. Like, and you said Greg Meehan, who is now, Team USA, is it director or head coach?
Yeah, national
team director. Like, you've had so many great coaches around you.
Yeah.
Tell us about, some of the best people that you worked with, some of people that you still keep up with, nowadays and have as mentors, and how important that is.
I wish I could say I kept up with a lot of people, probably not as well as I should, but I think, in passing, and as a lot of us have become head coaches or changed careers in that path, I think it's definitely become harder to always stay in touch with people. I think about all those coaches we shared with at LSU. I mean, sharing an office with Corey Chitwood and kind of seeing like his first coaching job before he became an amazing distance coach and who he is now. And what his like thought process. I would take an hour to write a workout. Like writing workouts for me is hard. Like I have to like really sit down and do it. And Corey'd be over there like, and he just, I was like, how do you do that? And it just like spilled out of him. It was crazy. So that was really cool. I actually learned a lot from Corey at such a young age when he started coaching, of just believing in what you do all the time. And Corey did that exceptionally at LSU. Think about what I learned from Chase, and like always kicking, always being like hard on him, and just committing him to the process of what it looks like. And those girls under Chase in the 200 free, they swam lights out that year. And I know he went on and learned a lot of other things at Texas and at Cal, but watching that start of everything there too was really exciting. And Dave Geyer, he had a way of connecting with the athletes one-on-one. I always admired that about him. He always put his family first. He always put the LSU family first. And now being able to sit in the head coaching chair and look back at like all the things that he managed with two programs, everything now makes sense, right? Like of how you do that as a head coach. I don't think as an assistant I'd ever, you don't know it as an assistant, but when you sit in the chair, you're like, dang, that's why we did this. That's why we did that. And I learned so much. I learned a lot from Milo. Milo, you guys know, is just mentally on another level. Like he can help mental you all the time, and like his like psychology of training and what they did. And Steve Miller too. I mean, I learned so much from Steve, and I think the way we collaborated and always made it work, especially with Steve, Dave, and I thought that was when we were really at our height at LSU. Was really cool. The collaboration was really good. I
was gonna say, like, I wish I had the whole fifth year thing with COVID, because I feel like it clicked so well. Like my senior year was, I think it was your last year at LSU as well, but there was a whole collaborative environment. Like your group, Steve's group, who were primarily like the sprinters and kind of like mid distance. But I was like, it was finally getting to me, and I'm like, I wish I had one more year to keep rolling on this.
That's why you're coaching. That's why you guys are doing what you do now.
I know. I think the same way you felt about when you started like your grad program. I used to think about that, like in coaching. I used to not want to be a coach, until I took an opportunity to be a grad assistant. Again, same thing, like to just kind of like help pay for the grad degree, and instantly like fell in love with it. And I think just because for many years I was very, and I was very inquisitive, always asking questions and always like wanting to know, why are we doing this? Like, how does this work? And I think and naturally it became like, all right, like I have all these thoughts here. I know all the processes, and like, this is how I can maybe make it better, or this is what I want to try. And so let's say name 3 people that, like, if you need something, like 3 mentors that you've had, if you need something, like if you're asking about a specific type of set or thought on something that you as a head coach now could easily reach out to, and you're like, you know what, this person could help me. Yeah. Okay. Who are you calling?
I think number 1 is Duncan Sherrard. He's at A&M now, and we worked together at Auburn and at South Carolina for that year that I was there. And he gets it, and he's so smart, and he's so good at what he does with the sprinters. And him and Gideon Lowe working together at Auburn, like, oh my gosh, I learned so much about sprinting and sprinting women especially. And I think anytime I need something from that perspective, when I'm like out of my wheelhouse, I'm like, okay, Duncan, talk me through this. Yeah. Like, am I crazy? Is this the right thing? Like, how are we doing this? So Duncan for sure. Stephanie Yunker at Louisville. I have always admired what Arthur has done at Louisville, from building a program culturally to what they do in the pool. Their value of work in the pool and how they go about it is pretty awesome. And so Stephanie is always someone who I'm constantly bouncing ideas off of or getting feedback from. And I don't know, just figuring out if there's an adjustment that I need to make, or is it just not nose to the grindstone and keep going. And then I would say my last person is Blair Bachman. Like, Blair and I, we've become very good friends along our career path. But I admired a lot of what she did at Indiana and then at Virginia. And then we got to know each other really well when she was at Virginia. And I think coming from Todd being at NC State and then going to Virginia, and Gary coming to Auburn from NC State, it was nice because I could speak the same language with her and understand a little bit better of maybe the ideas behind stuff, just because we were coming from the same coaching branch at that point. So she has always been someone that will answer my phone call or give me a set and try it out and just run with it. So those are probably my 3 big ones.
As a head coach, do you still reach out to people, or do you try to like keep your game a little more secretive? Like,
depends on what I want insight on. For sure. I think you have to keep your cards a little closer to your chest as a head coach, but I think it also depends. Like, I also think it's our job as head coaches to teach and mentor and share and all of that type of stuff too.
Yeah. I just asked because I've, working under Braden, a lot of times, like, I would catch myself asking questions of like, what do you think Todd is doing with the girls? And like, and he'd be like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, dude, you guys are best friends. Like, you don't call, like, you don't
care.
So, So it's I felt like it's not because he didn't want to reach out, but it's more like you said, like keeping a little, your cards.
I think it's also, or at least I can speak for myself. For me, it's also like, man, I don't know if I want to know what you guys are doing, because then when you give me ideas, I'm like, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And I need to do what Jeana does well. And sometimes if I let that other stuff get in my head, it actually, like, it takes away from what we're doing well. So I think like the imposter syndrome sometimes as a head coach, especially a new head coach, I could say for myself, was so real. Of, you don't want to, you have the job for a reason, and you're good at what you do, and trying to be the other things, it can mess with you.
Yeah. No, I totally feel it. Does it feel like going back to Illinois 4 years ago? Because you said you moved around a lot. I knew you were from there, so I wasn't sure if you moved around a lot.
So I grew up like 2.5 hours south of Champaign. So I mean, for those that don't know, like Illinois is a huge state, right? Like I was almost 4.5 hours from Chicago. So I never even though I lived in Illinois, I never raced Illinois kids. I only at high school season would I even like go to Chicago. So, yeah. And I did spend most of my life here. I was like 5th grade through high school, I would say is a lot of my roots are here. So it was nice coming back, but my family's not here. So they're all in Florida.
Yeah. Oh,
I know.
Okay. I thought for some reason I thought that I was like, okay, like maybe her whole family's there, and it feels like, you know. So did you always shoot for that, like in your?
This has
mind?
always
like,
been my dream job.
Okay, awesome.
Always.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
You know, it was really funny because when we left Auburn and I was going to South Carolina, the week I accepted the South Carolina job, the head coach at Illinois had reached out and she was like, hey, you know, would you be interested in being my assistant, my associate head coach? And, you know, all of this stuff. And I looked at my husband and I was like, oh my, did I just pass up the opportunity?
Wow.
And it didn't, like it all worked out, but
yeah.
It's always been my dream job to come home and be the Illinois kid or the Illinois girl to like help this program and, you know, keep elevating things year in and year out. So.
What I was going to ask, going back, because you were like, you know, I want to honor what Jeana does well, like what you do well. What did you identify early on as your like maybe strong suits as a coach, and then how did you kind of hone in on that or try to develop that while developing other skills too?
Yeah, as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, they're going to ask me this question. I knew that was going to happen.
That was set up.
Yeah, you know, for me, I think my number one thing that I have traditionally done really well as a coach is like the relationship part of it. I've always had good relationships with the kids that I've coached, you know, and there's always a few people that you just like, you don't connect with. And I think that's something I learned at LSU. I think Dave did a really good job. We didn't necessarily break out in training groups in terms of like sprint, middle distance, and distance. Like Dave said, I'm going to put you in groups with the kids that you connect with best. And it's your job as a coach to make sure those kids are getting what they need. And that always kind of stuck with me because of the, hey, if you believe in what you're doing and you have that relationship with that student athlete, they're always gonna succeed, right? And like there's always things that you can build off of. And Dave just let me figure it out. I think that's something I really valued. And so to the point of that, like it's relationships and figuring it out. And I'm willing to always try something new. As I get older, I don't want to try everything new all the time. However, I am always willing to do something different for the betterment of an individual student athlete or the whole team. I think those are like my big strengths.
Do you have
I was gonna add to that. Like you definitely don't remember this, but it's so true because like when I think, obviously you were my like primary coaches, right, usually with Steve, but when I think Jeana, I just think I forgot exactly what set it was. It's probably like one of those like 8-100s off the blocks on 3 minutes, something like that. I just, you know, I used to struggle a lot with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just remember being so down. And this one particular day, it was not like I wasn't down because of the physical pain. It was more emotional, mental stuff that was happening outside of the pool. And, you know, coaches yelling like, come on, let's go. Like teammates, like, come on, pick it up. Especially and I just remember exactly. And I remember you just coming in, like I was sitting like defeated. You placed your hand like on my back and you're like, hey, come on, like you got it. Yeah. And I think that day was what I needed. And I just, that's like one of like my memories from your coaching was like, yeah, she wasn't yelling at me. She wasn't, you know, telling me I was down and like trying to beat me up even more. Yeah. It was more like, hey, I know it's that, you know, the way you talk to it was letting me know like, hey, I know it's tough. I know there's more going on, but you know, we have to finish this. Right. Yeah. I think like you said, it's like you identify that as, you know, as part of the relationship and you were able to, you know, pick me up through, you know, like a way of talking. So I just wanted to add that because it's exactly the memory that I have.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What was the transition like from being an assistant at the various places that you were to then being a head coach? Like what were some aha moments for you?
Oh gosh, it was hard. I truly understand the expression of drinking out of a fire hose now. Like I would feel like underwater with all the things that needed to happen, and just the amount of stuff. And from walking in the door and meeting with all of these girls the first week when I didn't even know how to get to the hotel, right? Like, and you're just I was constantly in the office that first like month and sorting things out. All of a sudden you have to do a meet schedule. All of a sudden you're doing a budget, like all these things that you never had to do. Like it's always fallen. You could always help, but it wasn't your name attached to it. It wasn't all of this. And so I think, I started working with a leadership coach, and that was really helpful. And I think being able to have someone to help me organize my own thoughts and how to go about things and just line up my day was extremely helpful. And I'm lucky. I have really great administrative staff here at Illinois, from an executive staff level and a sports supervisor who really, they knew they were hiring a first-time head coach, and they really helped me the first year. I mean, I met with my sports supervisor weekly for a year just to make sure I was constantly remembering to do all the things that I would have never have thought that I had to do. And I just think I don't even know how to answer your question because there was so many things, right? And I think the aha moment is probably like, as an assistant, I was so used to doing all the travel, doing all the meals, like writing the practices and constantly being busy and knocking off the lists, and realizing that as a head coach, I couldn't do all of that, and being able to pass that out to the staff and what that looked like was good. And I think the other thing is having the staff that wanted to walk in with all of the mess of the first year for me, because it was my first time doing it. And when I hired them all, I was like, I need to do a lot of this on my own at first, because I need to know how to do it. Because if you leave, someone's got to teach the next person. So I'm going to have to know. So like, let me learn either with you, or let me learn first and then let me teach you. And then we kind of go from there, because that first year was really hard. And knowing that staff, we were all in it together and figuring out the messes and the good stuff and sifting through the muck was so important our first year. And for me, most importantly.
Yeah. Is it still the same staff from?
Yes.
It's Kyle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle's my assistant, and we worked together at South Carolina for a year. So it was nice. We had a little bit of we already had a rapport. We already kind of knew each other. And he's from Chicago. So like, oh my gosh, come on. Like, why not come with me and move home? And his wife is also from Chicago. And so that was really nice. And Jared, our director of ops, him and I swam for the same club program. So we think very similar when it comes to practice and like-mindedness with that. And then Trisha, our diving coach, none of us knew Trisha. She was kind of the odd one out because none of us knew her, but her like repertoire, she's amazing, and she just fit right in. So, and now we've all been together for 4 years, and it's been fun to kind of see all the growth and the changes of the staff too. Has been pretty different and unique.
Yeah. Cool. How do you guys go about structuring your team? Like, what does that look like when it comes to giving your swimmers what you need and organizing that amongst coaching staff? Like maybe walk us through a typical week for
like a training week.
Yeah, like a training week for your athletes.
So we do, I wouldn't say we do things like crazy different, but when we break out, like Kyle will take the sprinters. Like that's been Kyle's kind of bread and butter. I think it's where he wanted to develop as a coach. That was something I kind of asked him when he got hired, is like, where do you feel most comfortable and what do you want to learn and explore? Because I don't think I can write every practice all the time. And I didn't want to do that maybe in the beginning, but definitely not long-term. And Kyle has a background in strength and conditioning. So I think he was our strength and conditioning coach at South Carolina. So I think for him, getting to take that knowledge and then add it into the sprinting aspect, and he's creative. I mean, he's artistic. Like, he just thinks about things really different. So that was automatically a really like niche fix for him.
Yeah.
And then Jared was a D2 head coach at Truman State. And so he did everything right at Truman State. There wasn't anything that he didn't do, but I think the distance aspect for him was where he was most comfortable. And when the rule changed, when you could add coaches, Jared got to become a coach. So he's director of ops and a coach. And I thought it was perfect him breaking out with the distance group, because if he needed to do director of ops stuff, it was easy to put that distance group back in with me and be able to manage it. So that's kind of how we are when we break out. But in terms of a full week, Monday morning, we go stroke as a team. So similar workouts, but Kyle takes the backstrokers and the freestylers. I take the breaststrokers and the flyers on that morning. Jared uses that day to make sure he's ready from an administratively, like the week at hand, to make sure he's ready to go for the week. And then in the afternoon, we split. Kyle's got the sprinters an hour in the weight room and then an hour of power. I've got mid-distance with power and then weights. Jared's got distance for a 2-hour swim. So like, we're kind of a little all over the place. I've got some girls that don't lift twice and they go swim with Jared, that like 400 IM base group. They go swim the last hour with the distance group. Tuesday mornings, we go a 30-minute spin class, and then we split out into like an underwater kicking group with Kyle, and then an IM and Frim group with me and Jared. So even on that side of things, on the IM day, we probably have 2 to 3 workouts within that group alone. Wednesday morning, the sprinters, they sprint, they go fast all the time. Mid D and distance go pace and or VO2, depending on where we are in the year. Wednesday afternoon, we do that Monday again, that hour power and an hour lift. Thursday morning, hour of yoga recovery in the pool. So Thursday is like, everybody knows there's nothing intense coming. You can come in, you can chill, we can be grounded to the earth, as our yoga instructor likes to tell us. So we kind of bring it back on Thursday. And then Friday morning, we all train together doing some active rest. And then we're in the weight room and power together in the afternoon. And then Saturday's kitchen sink, right? Like whatever we feel like we need for each group is kind of what we do. So we're together and we're separate, but I'd say like 50-50. We try and keep the team together a lot.
And now a quick word from our sponsor, Aquatic Sports Performance. If you're serious about getting stronger, faster, and increasing your mobility, ASP has you covered. They specialize in strength, mobility, and dryland programs built specifically for swimmers and aquatic athletes. Everything is delivered right through the Train Heroic app, so you can follow along easily and track your progress. I've personally been using their online strength and mobility program, and let me tell you, it's made a real difference in how I feel in the gym and how I move in the pool. It's structured, effective, and tailored to what aquatic athletes need most. So if you want to train smarter and build real strength that transfers to your swimming, check out Aquatic Sports Performance and their Train Heroic programs. You'll find links in the show notes. This segment of the podcast is brought to you by SwimSmart. SwimSmart is an incredible company that has a plethora of tools, including designs like the push paddle, the power harness, the squeeze line, and an informative book like The Biology of Swimming. If you're interested in learning how to level up your swimming, go to swimsmarttoday.com to find the best tools for you. Use code GETOUTSWIM for a discount on your purchase. Thanks again, SwimSmart. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned VO2. I wanted to ask you, a couple of months ago, I texted you about like a VO2 max set, I think, or like a threshold set. It was like 4100s with a partner. Tell me about that, because I thought it was really cool.
Oh, I think I don't know if they did that at NC State or not. I think they had to have. I got it from Gary Taylor, and I just kept the tradition going. We would do, it was 100 hundreds, but you're with a partner. So like you go, I go, you go, I go. And I'd say it's pretty VO2. If you do the set the right way, it's pretty VO2 because you're always sprinting and you're trying to race the rest of the teams in the pool, and we want to be the first one done. But the night before,
it's 100. So it's 100, 100.
Well, it's 100 between the two of us. So we're only going 50 and you're going 50. Does that make sense?
Oh, 50 100s. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it's 100 total. Yeah.
Whoever finishes quicker is the winner.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we have like a running top 10 list. I did it at South Carolina because I only coached the women at South Carolina. So I like partnered all of them up. They pick it out of a hat. So they don't know who their partner is going to be. And then we carried that top 10 list to Illinois. So now we have a running list every year, and I just keep adding partners. So I don't think they think it's fun. I think it's great. I love it.
No, I mean, I saw it and I quickly understood kind of like, I was like, okay, like they're trying to race like as partners to see like which group like finishes first.
Yeah.
I'm like, this could be really fun. Like, I mean, you could do that. You could probably
do that with anything, right?
Do that same format with anything. But I liked, like you said, like if you do it correctly, it is perfect because, you know, if you're hitting 50 something a minute, gives you about a minute of rest, and it's like the perfect ratio.
You're going 1-to-1 ratio the whole time.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
When we were at Auburn, and I don't know if the teams ever love to do it, but it was so fun because we'd have 16, 18 lanes of teams, and the one in lane 1 would be winning, and lane 18 would be the second place team, and they'd be like yelling across the pool. And I don't know. I always thought it was fun. So,
do you do it once a year?
Once a year, always after Christmas. Okay. Yeah.
I think it was about this time. It was about like, I know it's hard to replicate that.
Yeah, we're gonna do it the Saturday we get back this year. So I'm already gonna prep them. The seniors get to pick out of the hat, and then the juniors after that. So it's fun.
Is there any other sets like that you do at Illinois that it's kind of like your staple that you kind of like, you know what, like I have to do this set every year?
Yes and no. I mean, that's probably the most important one, because even when we were just going over our Christmas break schedule and the guys are like, okay, when are we doing our hundreds? I was like, all right, we finally got it. Like 4 years, they're just expecting it. I think there's an IM set that I got from a Kentucky coach a long time ago that I've always done like twice a year, and the girls know it's coming. And I don't think it's anything out of the norm, but it's something that they've always done that they know how to do, and they like getting that feedback from it. I'm sure the team could answer that question more than I probably could, but the hundreds for me is always like, that's the set for sure.
I thought it was 40, but I think it's like 40 to 50 each person, right?
It's each person. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was like 40 total.
No, that's easy.
Like, you just not for me.
Well, it is when you get fins the whole time. I mean, it's like I don't think they only swim straight, like maybe 10 of them. After that, it's all like kick, pull, swim.
Oh, okay.
It's all mixed up. Yeah.
Gotcha.
You got to hit something that everybody's good at, because you don't want a partner that's just like can't.
So you are throwing some equipment in the middle and like doing different. Oh, okay, gotcha.
That would take.
I thought it was all swim. I'd be like, oh god, that's painful.
No, that would be awful.
Like, how do you even start that journey of like knowing you're gonna do about 50 100s and you just have to go fast?
I don't know. They come up with lots of games they play on the side with their partners next to them, and
that's cool.
They make a playlist, and so they know where they're at depending on the playlist too with the songs. So it's all good.
Oh, interesting.
You know, like the time you gotta play some games.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
What's your process like for writing workouts? Like, are you logging them so you can have a reference point for the next year and be like, oh, we were doing this at this time last year, let me change it up? Like, I'm always curious on how people are kind of going about structuring workouts. Like,
I have 8 years of binders in my office that I like. So like I love to go back into. I've gotten into the Google Drive big time because I feel like us as coaches can all see what each other are doing really well. But yeah, I always go back and look. I never kept a taper practice though. I've never kept a taper practice because I feel like every year is so different and every team is so different, and there's so many other variables that go into a season for individuals, whether it's in the pool or out of the pool, that I think you have ideas of what works for individuals and like how they respond, but that's the one thing I've never done. I never keep those workouts because I never want to default to what was last year because I think it's so like dynamic and changing all the time.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, especially when it comes to different circumstances, different year. It's
Your meet
are you a pen and paper or are you?
I go through phases. I had my director of ops. I had Jerry get a copier for the office because I was dead set on pen and paper all the time. So then he would do that so I could copy it. And now I'm back into like the writing and printing it out. But I am a paper coach. Like it's going to be printed out for you and you're going to know the whole set when you.
I like the paper. Yeah, I like the paper too. I always want to hold the paper and be like, I need to hold this and like understand what I'm about to go through.
Exactly.
And figure out how much pain I'm going to be in.
I was the same way. I didn't like not knowing what was coming.
I know. Yeah.
I know.
Is that something that you consider as well? Because me as a coach, I'm very visual, number one. So I do put things on a whiteboard or on a paper. But so what you just touched on it, I think that's really cool to kind of like go about, because there are days that, yes, I want to hide. And there are days that, I do want to write a little extra and have the room to change. I think me and Seamus talked about this a little bit on another podcast. But like sometimes I write a little extra, especially for sprinters, when you write like, okay, we're going to go 6 rounds. And then by round number 4, if it's not going well, I already know that I have that leverage to cut it off. What are your thoughts on that? Like,
I don't disagree. Like that's the one thing that I don't like about paper is it feels so like, this is what we're doing no matter what. And I don't love that. But to your point, like I would always err on the side of more on the paper because one, as a coach, like that makes you look good when you take something off when you recognize it. And I always tell the girls, I'm like, this is always the template, right? Like this does not mean we're ever married to the set as it goes. Or sometimes I even preface it. It's like, hey, this is the set. And I may or may not change the interval depending on what I see. So I'm always willing to change it. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to walk away because they're going to do this no matter what. But more often than not, I'm constantly like changing or doing something to it as we do it. But yeah, I don't like the finite of it, but I also don't like writing on the whiteboard because I feel like I'm missing the workout because I'm so into writing what's next. So
yeah.
Is there something that you think is a game changer for your athletes?
Man, from our program specifically?
Yeah.
I think actually, I think the house case and the rule change with the roster cap, I think that was a game changer for us in our program because we had a lot of women on our roster. And this is the first year we've had a smaller roster. And what a difference on a daily basis, like from an environment standpoint, from a competitive standpoint, just all the things, like the time.
For better or for worse?
I think for better. I think it's been a game changer. I think, we've had some other things in our athletic department that have changed for the positive with the house settlement. And I just feel like it's really leveled the playing field as a team. I think people walk in knowing that they're important to the team, that they're not just a number, but they have a like value and they have a purpose like all the time. And I would hope that they would always feel like that. But I think once your roster gets to a certain size, it's like, man, am I making the lineup? Am I traveling? And I think just knowing that we're going to be a team all the time and go through that, that has been a real game changer for us. And it's been fun to watch this year. I think, because of that too, like we have our own athletic trainer, like we've got a lot of really cool things here that I never had at any of the other schools that I had worked at. And I think those little things are good. And because of that, like we've got 4 coaches on staff and we've got really good relationships with our kids. And I think that's really important. And I would say that separates us for sure.
What are some of the main characteristics of someone that gets recruited to go to Illinois?
Good question.
That's a good question. You know, when we got hired, and I say we because we all started together and we're still here, but when I got hired, we were taking over a pretty big program in terms of we got a pretty steep hill to climb in a really competitive conference. I think that's I tell that to recruits all the time, and that's, you know, and especially when I got hired, I was all about honesty of where we were as a program and where we wanted to go and sharing that vision with them. And I think the most important thing that we have really hit home in the recruiting process right now is like being the flag bearer of this program and like really staking your claim on taking Illinois to the next level, right? And our AD, Josh Whitman, when he hired me, he was like, Jeana, I really think that this program can write their next chapter. And like this next chapter could be so much more than the history of this program. And I took that vision that Josh had said to me in my interview, and I really took it and ran with it. And I felt like, you know, I talk to the team all the time about being the best Illinois team ever. And we talk about that with our recruits. Like, we want women in the program that are ready to do that as freshmen and to buy into that and be the team that moves the needle all the time. Be the team that has the first NCAA qualifier and God knows how long, and, you know, all of these things. And so that's probably like the biggest thing. And I don't necessarily believe that was always like times, because we needed the right people to come into the program and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. We needed the girls that wanted to change the competitive culture within the team of training hard every day, of getting up on the blocks at dual meets, and not just like, oh, we're here to dual meet, great. Like, no, we're going to be competitive and we're going to win and we're going to do these things. And so I think our first two classes for sure were big on holistically looking at it and getting the right people in the program. And then after that, it was really easy to start being like, okay, now we need the people with the times to come in and say, this is what we're doing right now. And I feel like our sophomore class was really the focus of that. And they've been great, you know, and carrying that torch for us.
Yeah.
What are some of the like preferred majors? Like, is there anything that Illinois is like super strong with? Or
well, Illinois is a huge engineering school, like really, really top-notch engineering school. We've got 3 engineers on our team, and oh my gosh, these girls are
right now.
Yeah, good stuff. Really big, really great business program here. It's one of the top ones in the country. So those are the 2, I'd say the 2 most popular, maybe not within our program. I mean, we've got exercise science, we've got kines, we've got MCD bio. I mean, we had an actuary major in our program. It's just, these girls are so smart that they're pretty incredible. So I wouldn't say there's like a preferred major, but they're all over the place, and they are highly, highly intelligent women. And I think you need to be at this school. Like, it's a pretty high academic school.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about that, on, like you said, like being a female leader in a field that's, you know, kind of like surrounded by a lot of, like male coaches, especially like, I know you guys are in the Big Ten, right? And coming from the SEC, is there any female head coaches in the SEC? Vanderbilt has no?
just Stephanie at Georgia.
Right? Now Stephanie at Georgia. Yeah, but like when you were right?
No.
And you know, who do you look up to? Like, who do you kind of, you know, like I love that you mentioned Blair and Stephanie, like at Louisville, because I think that's very important. And I know you guys are you on that group? I'm friends with Molly. I have. We've always talked about that, and I think it's so important to highlight those movements, because like those leadership groups, because, you know, we don't see that, and we need that. There's so many great coaches out there that sometimes don't get the space. So
yeah, you know, I think actually, like, coming into the Big Ten, it's been nice. So my diving coach, Trisha, obviously a female, and we're like one of the only head swimming and head diving coaches in the country that are both women. It's kind of wild to me that I have a hard time. I know Fresno State is, but there's not a lot. And so just sitting at the Big Ten, like head coaches, right, meeting, and you're like at a table and it's me and Trisha, and then every other coach is some sort of like male or female counterpart. But the Big Ten's kind of cool because we've got Jordan at UCLA, we've got Lee at USC, Rachel at Northwestern, and then myself. I feel like we're not necessarily half the room by any means, but we are. It's much more common in our conference, and I think that's really been fun to see and be able to, call somebody on the phone and figure that out, and have some people to really reach out to and mentor. I was on the phone with Jordan the other day. I'm like, hey, you've been here. Like, you coach a women's only program. You're a female. Like, give me your perspective for this. And it's really nice to have that all the time. But in terms of like, being the woman in the room, like it's swimming, right? Like it's fun. And, and you're just learning and you're doing all the same things. And some people have just been there a lot longer and they've had more time to grow their own stuff. And just reminding myself of that is important too.
Before we head into our two final questions, who are the best Tigers? Who are your favorite Tigers in the SEC?
Who are my favorite Tigers?
In the SEC.
Are there more than one?
In the SEC?
Yeah, that's so bad. Do I know?
Auburn, LSU.
Oh, I'm like, you want to know how bad that is? I only think of LSU. So
exactly. There you go. There you go. That's a good answer.
Oh, I'm sure people will give me a hard time for that. But that's
I know. I mean, they did it to themselves when they picked the Eagle.
Yeah, that's fair. And I was thinking about Aubie too, and I'm like, but Aubie is like he's a Tiger, but he's Aubie, so didn't even like come into my head.
That was the cut that I needed.
Is there even another one? Perfect. Can't wait.
There you go.
Blown up for that. That's all right.
Yeah. Well, you didn't give an answer. Who were your favorites?
I can't. I'm going to plead the fifth. There's too many connections there. I can't do it. Oh. I feel like I said it. I went ahead and said it.
Yeah, you did. All right. So I had one more. What have been some of your favorite like races or memories that you've kind of presided over as a coach? Like when you think back, like what are those magical moments where you're just like, wow, this is all come together. This is what I do this for.
Oh man, that's a really hard question.
Big one.
That's a big one. I think there's always, I hate to say, I feel like it should be like a team thing, right? Like when you have those team moments. I'll never forget the year that SECs was at Auburn, and we were at when I was at LSU, and our women beat Auburn for the first time. And man, I don't even remember what year that was, but that was like
it was my freshman year.
Yeah, that was such a cool moment. Yeah. Such a cool moment. And that was really special. Watching Carly Cummings break the 200 breaststroke school record at Auburn at a last chance meet to make NCAAs and broke the record. I mean, I still have, someone had a video, they were videoing the race and her coming out, and like just that moment of all the things that we went through and trying to figure out that race, that stroke. And that was really special for me. That's still that was a really big one. Sarah Jass at Illinois breaking the 400 IM school record last year. And doing that here that was really cool. That was a really cool moment in our program here. And there's so many other ones, but I think about Angel Joao when she went 23.9 in the 50 for the first time.
I remember.
Last swim ever, last chance, and just like the glue of that program, and just like your New Orleans girl, born and bred a Tiger, and goes 23.9, and the whole place erupted. I just think some of those are like the lasting impressions, and like the feelings and the moments that I like always remember for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Angel's like a big one for me. I don't know why, but that was just I remember.
It was loud. It was so loud. Yeah.
It was so loud.
Yeah.
Tears, like immediate tears from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cool. So hopefully more of those memories coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we do it for, right? I usually tell some of my athletes, it's like, for me, yeah, like one of my favorite memories is not even like that glamorous, but it's one of my athletes at Ball State, he took his 5th year, probably shouldn't. We always joke to him like, you don't need a 5th year. But team captain, SAC president, just could not break a minute in 100 breast in a dual meet. Just like all year, a minute. And then his last dual meet goes a 59. And like, I cried. I was like, dude, like, you've been working so hard for this. And the happiness for him, I was like, dude, like, I'm happy that I shared this moment. And like, this is why I coach, like, right. Like those 30 seconds after something like that happens, you're like, all right, it's that boost of energy that you get for coaching.
Oh, so awesome. And I always ask our seniors in the beginning of the year, I'm like, give me like 2 things that you have to accomplish so that when you like hang your suit up at the end of the year, that you can walk away and be really okay with it. I don't know if I walked away from the sport and like was okay with my career. And so I think my own like coach thing is like, how do I help you walk away knowing that everything was in the pool and you're not going to be here a year from now and be like, oh man, had I done this, like, I don't want that for anybody. I want to know that you guys did everything that you could to be where you are, for sure.
That's important. That's very important.
So important.
All right. Well, last couple questions for you, Jeana. Number one, we have a sponsor on the podcast, a company called SwimSmart. And they do some amazing stuff with equipment, with different kind of educational books. Joao does a lot with SwimSmart and kind of promoting their stuff too. But question for you is, what does Swimming Smart mean to you in your program at Illinois?
Oh, Swimming Smart for me is really being intentional with how you're doing the practices. We talk all the time about keeping the main thing, right? Like, we don't need to do all the other stuff. Let's keep the main thing, and don't work harder than you have to sometimes, right? Like, there's a reason and a designed way for every workout. And sometimes you can go above and beyond that, and that's great. But sometimes it's like, this is meant to be threshold and only threshold. This is meant to be aerobic and only aerobic. And I think just Swimming Smart is really accomplishing the task at hand and letting the training systems take over, for sure.
Love it. Awesome. And then, are you a fan of a get out swim? And if so, do you have a favorite get out swim story?
Gosh, I don't know if I have a favorite story, but something I learned from Jeff Papel, it wasn't even like a get out swim. It was like a get out of like Friday practice. Like, you couldn't finish practice until somebody did the swim. Like, you did the whole workout. I think they did this at Georgia, but I don't know. I think Jeff's been doing it a long time, and I thought that was so awesome. We did that my first 2 years handily at Illinois, and our team loved it. It didn't matter that we had already done the whole practice, but at the end of that practice, so-and-so had to get up and be 54 from the blocks, and they figured out how to do it. And they were waiting for the next man up. Like, who's the next person up? Who's going to carry the torch? I don't know if I have a favorite one. I like to, you know what else I like to do is I like to crumble up the workouts at the end of practice and call my shots.
Shoot them. Yeah.
Every once in a while. I haven't made it in a while. I haven't made one this year. So I'm waiting for that 200 fly at the end of practice, but it hasn't happened.
That's a big one.
Yeah. But I do love a get out.
Yeah. That's really cool though. And like, using it at the end of, you've completed the workout. So it's not like, we're getting out of the workout, but it's like, hey, we can't leave until someone does this. And
no one's leaving this pool deck. We're all going to get behind him.
How often will you throw that in?
Man, the first 2 years here, we did it every Friday. Like, it didn't matter if we had a meet or anything. Like, it was every Friday. I have not done it in a long time. We like to do like Christmas swims, like a random, like, I have like 3 buckets, like a yardage bucket, a stroke bucket, and then maybe you get the mystery bucket and you get like fins, or it's like, there's a whole bunch of different things in there. And we pull them out of a hat, and whoever gets it has to get up on the blocks to finish practice. That was always fun, because they'd pull out the third one and it'd say like, all right, pass it to your buddy. So then they wouldn't have to do the swim, and they got to pick someone to give it to. And it was, I don't know, just like things to keep it fun and lighthearted, but also you don't know what you're doing, right? Like, you're just going to get up and do something that you're really uncomfortable with. And sometimes there's no expectation except to get up and give it your all for the team. I don't know. I think it's fun.
Yeah. I love it.
Awesome. It's fun as a coach.
It's fun as a coach. They hate it. They hate it. So
cool. Well, Jeana, thanks for again joining us. I think this has been awesome. I've loved talking to you and learning about your coaching background and what you guys got going on in Illinois. And thank you again. And Joao, if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, no, I'm just super happy to connect again, and like we touched on the beginning, like seeing so many of my former coaches as now like you know, head coaches at big programs. Like it's kind of like, it's very exciting for me as a young coach, because I know I can reach out at any, you know, hey Jeana, what do you do for this, or you know. But thank you so much for you know, helping us out and being part of the podcast. And you know, I'm excited. I know that now that you've done 4 years, I know that's kind of like when the work starts, kind of like, we saw the breaststrokers are doing a good job over there.
They're crushing it. They're crushing it.
And so I'm excited to see, and I know that now, knowing that this is your dream job and you want to be there forever, I'm excited to see the legacy that you build.
We're doing a good job. We got one more school record relay to break, and then we've broken all the relay records. And our like 200, 400 medley relays, they almost have every top 10 time in history since we've been here. And, you know, we've got like 5 more individual records. So we've got a list as a staff and as a team of like, okay, we've got 3 months to figure it out, because that was the goal. The goal was the end of 5 years, but we're so close. It's like, how do we get it here now? So we're almost there.
Awesome.
Awesome. Very much.
Good luck. Good luck at Big Ten this year. Excited to see the girls semi fast.
Thanks, guys.